Good evening. Oh my goodness. If I press play record and then stop one more time, the subject for tonight's sharing is that of home, and it certainly is an emotive subject for me and perhaps you too. I know every time I start recording it, the neighbor's dog starts barking and my internal dogs start barking too. I've wanted home for as long as I can remember and had fantasies of what that looked like. I know from when I was a kid, remember drawing a picture of a little cottage with rose ivy round the front door and a cat and a dog and a little internal staircase that I think went up to an attic. Was it a yellow rug or a green one? But I can still sense while I was doing that drawing the feeling I had internally of this warm and welcoming space, this creative space called home. Little did I know then, because I think was I around 5 or 6 at the time, that I would move around 30 times. I've lost count now. And research home in a way that some of me would have preferred not to have, in that I found many spaces that didn't feel like home, that were alienating, frightening, alarming, disharmony. And I share that with you now because maybe you found that too. And I know I'm not the only one. How many millions, if not hundreds of millions, if not billions of people in our world are finding it difficult to find their way home too. And I know that I have this prayer for myself, which I start. Oh God, may I find home in myself, but also, insofar as is possible, a space in this world that is warm and welcoming. But then I pause and I look up and I look down, and then I pause, and sometimes I pause for years or decades. Because how can I pray for this when I know there are so many others that don't have that? And then there's a conflict of, I want home. Over time, I started realizing it wasn't a conflict. It was simply that my prayer needed to be that, oh God, I want home, and may those lost, wandering the earth, lost and forgotten, nameless, if they want home too, may they find it. And so in exploring home for myself, I wanted to, in some way, the process be part of a communal want and a communal prayer. And so I've called the process, the project, Architecting Impossibilities, because I want home for me, but I want home for you too, if that's also what you want. So the process of me finding home in whatever way can be a pathway and a discussion space for us. So Architecting Impossibilities is about that journey, and I'm including it here in the Soul's Emergency Kit because I realize, well, it took me a little while. Sure, if a soul is emerging, coming out as a seed, then one of the things it wants more than anything else in the world is to go home, to complete that journey. And that certainly can feel like architecting impossibilities. Does that make sense? So this journey of finding home and exploring it on a physical level, for me, is also exploring it at a soul self level, that as much as I want to be a bit playful and creative about exploring the possibilities of home physically, it would only ever be meaningful if it reflected what is going on and crystallizing within for real. And so the process for me of creating and building a home for myself, a peace temple, is a process of you see, I'm lost for words because this is terrain that I have not navigated before. I have a desire to navigate it and to understand it. But the full journey home, and really coming home to myself so completely that it is a space I would never leave, is not one that is completed. So I take a little breath in and out, and there was all manner of things I was thinking to share more about the practicalities of what I'm doing for real in terra firma on land. But for now, I actually don't want to force it, other than just to say, introduce the topic tonight, and say that I'll share more, and I'd love to hear any of your inspirations, your wants, your needs on the subject of home. For me, home really, in building this home, it needs to be human, animal, and earth kind. Otherwise, it's going to feel like a contradiction to the process. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam.